that that coolness. You know what I mean? They all want that. So
Well, I
yeah, I'm
don't,
pretty stoked for that.
and I don't think it's like some of it's not like cool. It's like 'cause when I was racing, I loved the gnarly of the track because to me it didn't like it separated a lot of people and
Yeah.
it didn't make it feel like we're just who's got the biggest balls, who's just going to hold it wide open the whole time. It made it
Mhm.
more like to me the way I looked at it was it made it more like a chess match. Who had
Yeah.
all their techniques down, who was able to
Yep.
like methodically do things,
Yep.
and I liked that better than well, for instance, my best track was Glen Helen, which had the gnarliest stuff, but it
Which
wasn't
is in
necessarily.
you've said that before, and that's crazy to me. Number one, chop. It's like a harder base. Things get like super crazy. I don't know how you ride that track as fast as you do, honestly.
Well, for one, it was my home track, and for two,
Well, that helps.
it's what blows me away. It is not my favorite track. It was actually the scariest track I'd ever rode, but it was like what made it nice was you weren't worried about racing anybody. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't care if there was 100 people on that race track. I
Yeah.
was so terrified of the track that
Hmm.
like it was just you and the track.
Blinders. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
but like I know Villapoto always says it's a fair track, and he does. To his credit, he does say like when they prep it for the national, it's nothing like what people go and ride on, which
For
is true
sure.
because I just rode there last Thursday, and I was like, God, this is a death trap out here.
That's wild. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just tuning in, welcome to the TCE Supercross live watch party. My bad, I forgot to hit live uh, on YouTube. There's so many steps. Me and Brent were trying to get everything situated with the entire setup. This is round two. We're in San Diego. A lot of stuff to talk about. You guys know the off season was pretty intense, where we had a lot of different rivalries, a lot of different things popping up, and then we go over to fast forwarding the last weekend. All the guys you thought would be up front weren't really up front. A lot of cool surprises. If you guys have not seen anything to do with the collective over the last couple of years, this face may not be too familiar for you, but if you have, you've seen this beautiful mug around. You've seen him in our vlogs. You've seen him in our marketing. You've probably done an experience with him. It's California's very own. It's Mr. Brent Rouse. What's up, Brent?
Oh, not much. I can't say I'm from California anymore, though. I'm from Arkansas now.
Dude, it's only been a couple years. Come on. Come
I,
on. We're still Cali's still claiming you, dude.
hey, with when motocross fully leaves out of there, I can't claim it anymore at all. So one
Yeah.
of one of that have made the merge out of there.
Yeah. Are you going to be Florida and Georgia's very own when you start heading over there?
I couldn't do Florida; it's way too hot there.
Dude, I can't do Florida Pure. I just don't enjoy it, but I do enjoy the people. So, Florida, geographically, not my favorite. Guys, we do these live watch parties every single week that we're not at the races. You may see them kind of start to be a little bit more different. Some you might have another co-host or another host when we go to the East Coast because we get it hopping over there. As we're watching Joe Shimoda right now, Brent had to tell me that Joe Shimoda broke his fingers. I believe it was earlier today. You saw in the heat race, maybe not the same sort of charging and that confidence that we were talking about over the last couple of weeks. And especially last weekend, Brent had some cool insider information about them not testing. Honda's not really testing with him as much. Brent, good friend of me and you, Braden Shaw, works for HRC on the pro racing side. So he's right there doing clickers, check and sag with the big boys, with Honda HRC. What's some inside info you have on the Honda boys, on Joe Shimoda, on testing? Like, what have you seen?
I mean, like I was saying before, talking with Brandon, he was saying like when they move because he works for Showa, so he said he kind of had insight of what Shimoda was doing at Cowie because that was also a Shimoda or a Showa team, and he
Mm.
said like when he moved over and went to Honda, they tested so much that first year, and he said sometimes they would just test, and he goes maybe they would test themselves into a hole, which is very common for riders to do. I found myself into that, just trying things, and you end up just digging yourself into a hole. And he said like this year, they
Mhm.
they kind of figured out something. He goes, they weren't really changing all that much. He said we weren't at the track testing all the time.
Yeah.
They got a setup, and he actually went out to Florida and
Mhm.
just kind of was riding their setup. So, as most know, if you're not doing a lot of change on your bike, that's a good thing.
It's a good sign, and it's translating into a really confident and cool, calm, and collected Joe Shimoda. We got heat number 2 that just dropped for the 250s. Ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this, I got to thank our amazing sponsors for this program. Shout out to FXR Moto. Without them, we wouldn't be able to do this. Shout out to one of our newest sponsors, partzilla.com. Make sure you go over there, check out their latest offerings for OEM parts and accessories. Phoenix Handlebars, thanks to Jason and the crew over there. They have an amazing new exclusive for TMA members only, a new custom bar bend. So make sure you are part of the Moto Academy to be able to get that insider scoop in the bar and save a little bit of cash. Flow Vision goggles. Without them, these peepers would not be as pretty. Also, a huge shout out to Creo P1 Designs. They take care of all of our graphic needs. EVS, Evans Power Coolant, of course, the Moto Academy, and Speed and Sport Adventure Tours. Let's get over to the stream a little bit as we see the Blue Crew guys they're just killing it. And what actually before that, we got a new arrival. Ladies and gentlemen, it's our lovely co-host from the frozen tundra of Canada, Mr. Jackson Eckstein. What's up, dude? And of course, he's muted. And of course, we can't hear a single word he's saying. So, Brent, I know you haven't been on the broadcast for a while, but it's either I have Wi-Fi signal issues or Jackson has mic issues. So it's a jumble. So while he's getting that set up, we just talked about this kid. We just talked about Cole Davies, and he is out front killing it right now ahead of Moseman, who again is a more tenured racer on his same team and ahead of Deegan. When have we ever seen a kid in the 250s get starts like this? Because I can't think of a single.
Check 1 2.
There we go, baby girl. You got to get that situated.
Is it coming through?
We got it.
Yes.
Is it quiet or can you hear it?
No, we can hear it. We got you.
Yeah.
Figured it out. Right?
One thing I would point out about at least our top two is, and this is going to sound crazy because I am a neck brace guy, and I've always been, always will be. But I don't like when I see guys who never wore them put them on, because I'm like, it's too late, pal. Like you're tech. Yeah. Like it's too late to start over, and I want to see Moseman do good. I really do. But when he put the neck brace on, I'm like, oh god, like this doesn't.
It's limiting.
It's scary.
You really need to wear that thing during some like fundamental like growth, because if you're going from like no neck brace and then you get to the top of the sport, it's difficult. And there's some days where like I hope Mary's not watching, but I'm not wearing mine as much. But just because it prevents me from getting to a certain position, I want to get more into that. But I do want to go over to the chat and start acknowledging some people. Shout out to everybody who's joining in again. We really appreciate you guys being here. It means a lot, and it really helps us. Make sure that at the end of this, because we only go to the LCQs, that you guys are going over to the Moto Academy app. If you are not inside the app, what are you doing? After this, our homeboy, Mr. White Boot Club himself, Ray Vens, will be live streaming, and we will be talking about the race with him, breaking down all the cool action only the way that Mr. Ray Vens can do. Shout out to Daniel Youngblood. We got Mark Vernon in the chat. We got Max himself, the Gray Rabbit. What's up, buddy? Shout out to Mrs. Caitlin, the one and only famous Caitlin. We got, oh my God, photography guru himself, Ethan Quinto. What's up? Mike McSwain, how you doing, buddy? Good to see you back. The whole crew is in here. We got the whole crew jumping off. It's awesome. Waiting for Bunny Man. Ben Weigel, what's up, brother? How you doing? We appreciate all of you guys checking in and hanging out with us. Marco Chavez, what's going on? Mi gente. I see a little bit of Espanol in there. Ray, don't be speaking Spanish, buddy. You know what it does to me. You're gonna get me all flustered, daddy, and I can't have that. I gotta focus right now. So shout out to everybody in the chat. Send your questions in for Brent. Brent is one of the coolest racers around. He's got so much knowledge and information when it comes to industry insider info, as well as a breakdown of what it's like to be a racer at this level. Brent was a phenomenal racer when he was pro. I'm hoping that he's going to come back eventually at some point, because I don't like that he's not out there doing gate drops. So maybe I can convince him. Maybe you guys can help me. We got Cole Davies out front. Jackson, Cole Davies was phenomenal last weekend. He was great in the offseason, we heard, and now he's out front. What do you see as far as like the future for this kid? Like, do you see a limit to what he can do out there?
Dude, I don't know. I don't know if you guys paid attention to Race Day Live today, but they must have been listening to the Moto Academy podcast, because because AC and Justin Brayton were pretty much copying what Davey Cakes and AJ Cat were saying on the podcast this week.
I
which
noticed
is,
that, yeah.
dude. Oh, sorry.
Don't wait. Are you ahead of us?
He has to be.
I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's the fun part is that we are all at different spots. So I know you're in Arkansas. I'm in Texas. This dude's in Canada. So we're all little. That's one of the fun.
Why is
parts
my?
about
I don't
this.
understand why. Oh, there it is. There it is.
Ooh, that was
you
scary.
saw it now. Holy moly!
You have to be seeing it soon because me and you are about the same.
Yeah, dude. I'm. Oh. Yeah. Okay. I'm behind.
Canada's like a whole lap ahead of us.
Dude, right? What is this?
Get with it.
Get with it.
Okay.
Jeez,
What were we
dude.
saying? Cole Davies.
Cole Davies, yeah.
He can just about answer
Who
anybody.
cares?
God,
What is he
No,
charging too
Davies-
hard? Is that the problem?
dude.
They
I think he
slow
missed
motion.
one whoop.
Oh, he missed a whoop and his foot slipped off.
Yeah.
Dude, but like one thing that like look at how composed Davies is, dude. Like this guy does not look like he's 17, 18. Like look at the way he charges
And
these
even
corners,
if he
but he's
was-
patient at the same time.
Even if he was like, dude, he's so smooth. Like,
Exactly.
dude. Okay. All right. Hey, hot take here.
Mm.
What happens if, obviously, we're overreacting, but that's what this show is. All right, dude. If Davies is in not just like a good spot, but like the title hunt, dude, it's gonna get nasty under the Blue Crew tent. You got Deegan, the
for
family,
sure.
the
Yep.
fans, and
Yes.
just this kid from New Zealand comes around. He's like,
Yes.
"All right, hey, boys, having fun," you know.
Jamal?
Oh, holy! All right, I'm gonna have to pause mine or something.
All right, now we know now we know what Jackson's bedroom screams sound like, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, dude, 100%. I think it's the old vinegar strokes over there, dude. It's crazy. The fact that like, yeah, we've seen that before.
There it is.
We've seen a Blue Crew rivalry between like, remember the Cooper Webb, Martin days.
Yeah.
We've seen stuff like that have just been absolutely insane.
Even,
so
Jordan Smith and Deegan and that, but that was a little different.
yeah,
What was that guy doing? Oh my god!
yeah, it's absolutely insane. So yeah, I mean, we know. Jeez, what was he doing, dude? Oh, loop out and a half. Oh my gosh.
I have 2 cents to add to the heated rivalry.
Okay, go ahead.
If there was a better person to coach you through that, it would be Ben. Because if you don't remember, one of the greatest heated rivalries is him and Villapoto. So in that
riding for PC, yes,
and
yes.
Cole Davies trainer always been. So he
Yeah.
would have a little bit of guidance through battling with them. I do think being in a rivalry against Deegan would be a lot more talk and off the track stuff than Villapoto would be.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, it would get absolutely gnarly. Guys, if you're just joining in, welcome to the TCE Supercross live watch party, round 2, San Diego. You got me, you got Brent Rouse, former pro, and you got Moto Academy's finest, brightest, most wonderful from all the way in Canada. It's Jackson Eckstein. Shout out to the chat, guys. Don't forget to leave your comments, ask us all the questions you want to ask us. And again, shout out to FXR Moto, Partzilla.com, Flow Vision Goggles, Phoenix Handlebars, EVS, and of course the Moto Academy. Right after this, we will be streaming with Mr. Ray Benz, White Boot Club himself, in the app. You guys can chat with us, and we're going to be giving away some cool stuff during this one too. So I'm going to save the question until maybe just before the LCQ. It's going to be around Brent Rouse. So do your homework and make sure you guys be solid with it.
Mr. Rouse, I have a question for you. What is it about the track design and the build of that triple that's to the left of the start straight? The triple before the sand. What is it about the build of that 90% of riders were just having to sky that jump today?
Yes.
I feel like that's the biggest we've seen people have to, like the highest we've seen people have to jump since like that crazy double they had in Atlanta a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I just think they had that lip peaked like steeper. I don't think they have it as flat as they normally are. I think that thing's a more old school style Supercross.
Yeah.
Like if you look at the, McGrath when he was on his Yamahas, everything was like this, and
Yeah.
which is good because it slows you down.
I liked it. It was kind of cool. Like we're not used to seeing like even the top guys have that much hang time, when they're out there. I thought it was really cool. It just like it didn't make it look like any other rhythm section.
Yeah, me and Dave were talking about that, and I said like I think you could see even. I mean, we're 2 races in, but they're starting to try things. I know this week we have 10 whoops. It looks like we're trying a lot more stuff. They added that like weird table with a little elevated table on top of it as like a different, obstacle. I think we're in this.
They had that at A1
Yes,
too. It was an interesting. Saw people like most people by the end of the main were just kind of riding over the first hump.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I think we're in this weird transition. I think they're going to start trying to bring back a little more steeper, because I was telling Dave, I said the bikes and technology and suspension are so much better. I said the forward momentum drive we have now is so much faster than any other generation of Supercross. And I think if we can peak it up, it'll slow that speed down a bit.
I think that's something that's kind of like almost lost in the sauce when you go back to those Stewart days when he was really revolutionizing how people jumped the motorcycle. And like it was on obstacles built like this. Like if you compare, his footage when he was coming on the scene on his 125 and how he would still stay low to modern footage, it's like, yeah, everybody's staying low now. And it's like, yeah, but look at how the jumps were built. Like he was doing it on triples like that, which is just, it's absolutely insane.
That's one thing that people don't talk about enough is like the fact that Stewart could take his momentum and push it forward. Like he had one of the most unique seat bounces in the sport. You can see him pushing and charging through rhythm sections. Like that is a rarity. And I'm glad you brought that up, Jackson. This is kind of reminiscent of tracks that like you and I are probably familiar with more so, Brent and Jackson. Like this is kind of our era. Not trying to date ourselves, of like super cool peaky stuff. Holy crap! Look at Malcolm Stewart's gear, dude. That is fire.
Do you guys not feel like? Sorry, I forgot I wasn't from my mic. Is it not insane that like just adding that 10th whoop makes it look like there's 14 whoops?
Yeah, Brett mentioned that
longer,
earlier.
It doesn't look like it's one whoop longer. It looks
long.
insane, which like it is how it should be. And it's nice that it's like already like such a separating factor, even like time qualifying that.
It's crazy, dude. It's absolutely insane.
Okay, Dave.
Brent said it's still 9 too many.
For me.
Yeah.
At 10 whoops,
and I'm like, yeah, I agree. What's up, bud?
I don't know where your stream is. You're probably you're watching Price is Right, but
dude, I'm on A1. What we talking about? Last year.
No, he likes Steve Harvey.
They're showing
Steve Harvey.
Yeah, you're watching Red Bud. They're showing Jet on the line. When I first met Dave, he lied to me and said that was his cousin, and I believed him.
Oh, dude,
because I didn't want to be
that's
racist.
Not true.
Don't listen to me
every time. Dude, the amount of pit access and parties he's gotten into because he plays the race card and says, "Do you know who I am?" And they're like, "No," and he's like, "Good, let me in."
No.
Is this a big get right? Does balance restore? Do we see, like in the main events, do you think we get Deegan back up front? Do we get Jet back where we feel like he's supposed to be? Or is this another chaos race? What do you think?
That's a really good question. I think we're going to see a better version of Jet. I think last weekend, I don't want to say it's a fluke, but I do think it's I don't expect him to not be there. You know what I mean? So I think he likes the more technical stuff too, if I'm being honest with you. What do you think, Brent?
I think, yes, we'll see Jet be better. I think until Jet gets back 100% comfortable with the bike, though, we're about to have some of the best racing we're going to see, because I think Jet a little bit under his peak, and Chase getting back to where he is, and Tomac, I think all three of them are about even right now. Until Jet figures out that bike and everything, I think he's not going to be much better than those two. And I really think it's going to come down to starts. And if those three start together, I think it'll be interesting to see, who really come. And honestly, I think I'd give the nod to Tomac. Can't buy experience.
100%. And he looks like he's like one of the best Eli Tomac versions that we've had in a really long time. The guy looks so solid. But we got gate drop for heat number 1, Jet Lawrence out front. We got Cooper Webb in second. So I'm pretty stoked to see how this all shakes out with Jet up front. Do you think if Jet gets a good start, if Sexton gets a good start, if Tomac gets a good start, do you think that they're still going to be able to hang with Jet? And I'll still say hang with Jet because he is, Mr. Undefeated outdoors and all that other stuff.
Have either of them, forgive me if I'm wrong, but have either of them straight up beat him yet?
That's what I'm wondering. Like, if they all get a good clean start, can they hang with him?
I'm thinking about the last time that they were all three. Sorry, go ahead.
Go on. Oh, the last time that I remember anyone actually, I would say, and it's not really straight up, but Tomac in St. Louis in 2 of the motos beat him. I know Tomac hole shotted both of them, and I think Jet started mid-pack, but he was not able to catch and run him down. But other than that, I don't think Sexton's ever beat him.
I think I'm trying to think of when they've all been there, when they've been not a mistake, not a crash, just racing. The only one I can really think of is Daytona last year. They were 1, 2, 3, weren't they?
Yeah, and Jet won.
But did they start 1, 2, 3, or is that how they just finished?
I think Jet didn't.
No, that's how they finished. Jet caught him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, now I want to say
that was the race. That was the one where they were changing out. They were changing out his tire on the gate drop. Remember?
Copy. Yeah. Well, this new version of Sexton, because Sexton looks like a different rider.
Dave doesn't know. Dave doesn't watch racing.
Jet looks like a different rider to me this year.
Dude, we try to cue him and AJ up to do a recap podcast the Sunday right after the race, and they're both just did that happen? I don't know who won. Who was this? Who was racing?
What sport?
What round was this?
Are we rollerblading? But no, I think Sexton's a revamped Sexton. I wonder if this version of Sexton, this version of Tomac, can hang with him, gate drop, and they're 1, 2, 3 right there.
So if I had to put, I was saying, if I had to put money down now, I would say, let's say they all 3 start on this race, right? I'm gonna give the nod to Tomac only because Sexton makes too many mistakes. Even last week he won and he dealt with a stall, and I feel like when you pressure him, I think it's easier to pressure him into a mistake. The way I've always kind of told people, and I look at it, is if you look back to when Carmichael, Stewart, and Reed were at their peak, I kind of compare those 3 where Tomac is the Carmichael. The guy just wins races. He wins championships. He knows how to get it done. I look at, it's hard to even say it, but Jet as a Stewart with the speed, doesn't have the mistakes. Realistically, I look at, him like a Reed, but a more elevated version of Reed.
Yeah. Yep.
I see Sexton as a Stewart. When he's on, he is so fast. But you blink an eye, and he's on.
I like that analogy, but I think I'd go Sexton as kind of the Reed in the sense that I feel like championships are all about windows. And I feel like if you drop Sexton in a different era, it's similar to Reed. It's undisputedly he'd be a reigning champ multiple times over, but because of who he had to face at the time. And I feel like Sexton, right at the end of Tomac's career, beginning of Jet's career, it's he's snuck those championships out when mishaps have happened. And I don't discredit those at all, because you have to be in it to win it. But Reed's titles came when
Carmichael
was out, when Stu was out, when those things happened, that's when Reed, and he capitalized. Like there's something to say that the pressure was then on him and he did it. Same with Sexton. But yeah, it's so tricky. Like you think about how, looking back on their careers, like how it's hard not to have kind of like a chip on your shoulder as a Reed, to be like, are you like, that's who I had to race against? Like two guys that are on everyone's Mount Rushmore. And that's the bulk of my career, was like
every
trying
single
to
weekend
and being competitive and being there. And it's not like he was like, he was second to fourth every weekend,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy is like Reed talked about it on the broadcast earlier of like, yeah, it's Cooper Cool 05. We had some good tussles, and he was underselling just how phenomenal 05 was for the sport. Like I remember, and you might remember this too, Brent, Dallas 05, Reed and Stewart were in the same heat race, and they were killing every single bull turn, not hitting the brakes, just wah, wah, like literally them getting friction from the dirt as they're wide open. That was their break. Like that, that was like, it was absolutely insane. He's like, yeah, it was a good race. I'm like, dude, that right there elevated the sport. And Jackson, absolutely right. If Reed did not have Stewart and Carmichael, we would be saying he might be the, one of the GOATs, dude. Like he would be like so many more Supercross wins for sure. Because the way that he rode whoops and could navigate a track, dude, there was absolutely
across eras too. Like you take,
yeah.
Dude, Reed is going to be a guy that we look back on and just be like, man, even though no one really has a lot of bad to say about him, but it's like, dude, he still needs his flowers. Like Christian Craig was the whoop guy on the Star 250. Moved to Husky, wasn't the whoop guy, Reed didn't just move bikes. Like he went from the 252 stroke to the 450 to every manufacturer 450 and was still the whoop guy. Like it's so crazy just how good he was.
Until Stewart came in, and then James could hit whoops like
stupid fast. Speaking of the Stewarts, what's it going to take for Malcolm to be able to like do something? Like I'm watching him and Ferrandis right now. Like what's it going to take for Malcolm to be up there with those guys?
I don't think he's going to win a race, and that it hurts me to say it, but you've seen Brayton win one. It just never seems to really work out. I think he needs to get off the bike. I just don't think that Husky's as good as I'd like to see him back on a Star Yamaha, to be honest.
I was just going to ask you, what bike do you think would really suit his riding style?
I think the Star. Factory Honda's never going to give up their two guys, so let's just take Honda out of the equation. After that, I would say
MCR though, he looked really good in the Honda.
He did. Oh, he was so fast in the whoops when he got hurt.
Think about
Arizona.
Oh, yeah.
Think about the team of riders that we had that struggled with the factory Yamaha for years, and how robbed we are that we never got to see them on the Star program. Because think about Barsha. Because Barsha left the year that Star took over.
Yeah.
So we never saw Barsha on a Star, and Barsha was still like a guy even on the factory 450, which everybody said they're not letting us do what we want. Like this isn't like the higher ups have way too much say in what we're racing.
Yeah.
And like I remember, I think it was Ironman the last year Barsha was outdoors on the Yamaha. Like he was like him and Tomac charged right to the end of that race. Dude, could you imagine? Think about the already loudest bike on the track and putting Barsha on that thing. Oh my god.
Dude, that would be so epic. And I think about like I watched Supercross Rewind of like Stu 09 and how much he seemed to like that bike. And then they went with like their first year for the reverse engine, 2010, 2011. I'm getting at, Brent. And like how much he hated that bike. Could you imagine Stu if San Manuel, because they were pretty much a factory Yamaha, if they had the Star Racing, dude, Stu would be untouchable.
He would have, honestly, if that bike didn't turn to that pile of junk 10 when they turned that motor around backwards, I do believe Stewart would have beat McGrath's record. He was on the
Agreed.
trajectory
Agreed.
to do it.
Yep.
And in 9, the guy won like all but 3 races, and he in the 3 he did, he would die in them, and then he would get up the next week and win like 7 in a row.
Yeah, it just baffles me. Like,
I wonder
from a
manufacturer's. I wonder from a manufacturer standpoint if they still, like, we look back and we're like, we think about what could have been for the individual, for the races, for Stu, but like as a team and as a company, after I believe it was like 2013, 2014, they got like both bikes had the swapped engines turned around, and like starting with the 250s, they went on a run of just domination, and now the last few years, the Star Yamahas 450 and 250 have been, the kind of the bike to beat. Like, you kind of throw anybody on there and it's like, oh, look at these guys go. I wonder if they look back and they're like, absolutely zero regrets of putting out that rig pig in 2010.
Oh, I don't think they do, because the way I look at it is every brand has this. Honda was king from like the 80s and the 90s and into the early 2000s. Then they came out with that first aluminum frame. This is dating back to the 2-strokes, but then from there till Carmichael got on. But they go through these phases, and I mean, everyone will arguably say Honda's 07 was the greatest bike ever made. And then Suzuki went on a run for a bit where they were the best bike ever made. And then KTM with Dungey for the longest time, they were the bike. Like, and then Cowie with Villapoto had a good bike. So I feel like they all go through their phases where they hit and miss things. And Honda with the Lawrences were onto it. And if they can turn it around like he did in this heat, then, Honda's, they're going to be the bike that everyone needs to be.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that one, man. It's cool to see the different eras, but yeah, I'm stoked to see what shakes out. I want to go back to the chat and pose a question to the chat. If we did see a Webb, JA, Tomac, Sexton, Jet, Hunter start, do you think they all hang with Jet? Do you think he pulls them like he just did, or do you think we see a little bit more of a parity between like who's going to be able to get up there and battle with them? I want to pose that to the chat and see. But shout out again, we got the famous Caitlin in there. We got Max, my man. We got Mr. Leatherman making a sneaky appearance. And I've told him multiple times, if you're going to pop in places, just let me know, because I get excited to see you. And of course, he just pops in. Just saying, hey, we got Young Blood, we got Mark Vernon, we got Ben Weigel in there. Shout out to the whole crew, Mike McSwain and Bunny Man. I think he's gonna pop back in soon. So really appreciate you guys being here. And again, if you guys are looking for some savings on anything that you have going on, whether it's goggles, gear, maybe some braces for your knees, maybe some cool parts and accessories, use our links below so that you guys can save. If you want to attend a race like an absolute G, head to thecollectivexp.com. Guys, our program is more than just a meet and greet. Our program gets you in feeling like family with some of the top racing teams in the industry. You guys can have an amazing, personally custom curated VIP experience, or you guys can head up our internship program where you guys can work with top teams, build up your resume, and get hands-on experience. The connections that we help you make are second to none. They are absolutely incredible, and we have had over 80% of our interns go on to work in the industry. If you guys want an all-inclusive fan experience where the money goes right back to the riders and the teams and you're helping the sport, it's not just lining our pockets, head to thecollectivexp.com. We have the best fan experience in motorsports, I can promise you that, and use promo code the Moto Academy to save today. We're getting ready for heat number 2. I'm pretty stoked to see this because not only is another 450 race, but it's also Jorge Prado in this one. I've been so stoked to see that guy come over and race. Brent, do you think the influx of people like Jorge Prado is going to like just encourage more GP guys? Are we going to have like full international Supercross at some point?
I think we are going to see a bunch of them come over. You're hearing about Kyle Wolf wanting to come over and the Coonan brothers, and I just think this is going to start bringing more of them over.
I like the rivalry that people are trying to make with Kato Wolf, Deegan, to see like who's the best 250 guy. Do you think
Yeah.
that Kida Wolf can lay it down to Deegan if he comes over stateside?
Oh, in Supercross, no. I'm sorry. Like,
Yeah, I don't think Supercross either. Yeah.
I am super impressed with Prado in Supercross.
Yeah.
Now it's funny because DV is disgusted by Prado and Supercross.
Why?
And he says basically he sucks. He's an elevated Vince Freeze, and he said basically he's never passed anybody in Supercross. He only gets a good start and goes backwards. Like, he doesn't say anything good about him. But I'm like, this guy never even stepped foot on a Supercross track until last year. Like, I'm impressed. I have stepped foot on a couple Supercross tracks and almost died immediately. So for him to get second in the heat race, I mean, I was very impressed by him.
Same here. I think he rides well. He rode well last year, and like you said, dude, for anybody to come over, look at Roxon. It took him a little bit, took Muskin a little bit. Prados came and he's in the mix. Is he a podium guy? Not right now. Could he be by the end of the season? 100%. Could he have a sneaky win? It's going to be really tough, but if he can get comfortable and acclimated with not only Supercross but that new bike, which it looks like he's getting pretty comfortable the more he rides it, I think Prado could be right up there. But people forget he is a world champion. He's used to dicing it up with people like Tim Geischer, dude. Like, that alone, that credential, Tim Geischer the dude pretty much reinvented the scrub. He gets so low. He's riding with absolute beasts. So I don't think he's nervous when it comes to racing at the front with top guys. So the confidence that you have in him, Brent, I share that with you, man. I think he's going to be really good. He just needs to nail down a few fundamentals.
He needs to just get through a season or two. Like, I see him maybe by late next year he can be a podium threat guy. I think he'd be inside the top 5 because his starts are so good, and everybody knows in Supercross starts are so important. So, like, I can see that. I think he has adapted very well, and like you just said, it's a new bike too. Not only is this is his 7th race ever, it's a brand new bike, so it's his 2nd race on a new bike. And also, we like you did, and everyone else goes, you compare him to a Roxon and a Muskin. Okay, well, for one, both those guys grew up racing Supercross. They did the French Supercross series, so they had way more time on it. And 2, they came in and did the lights thing. We're talking about a guy coming straight to the 450 class. I mean, that'd be like putting Cole Davies on a 450 right now and him getting 9th. I mean, we would be blown away that Cole Davies went out 9th. But because he's a world champion, they're like, well, that ain't that good. It's like, okay, this guy's never raced a Supercross, or this is his 7th one, Yeah.
No, I definitely agree. Jackson, you and I have been talking about Prado for a while, maybe more than just his riding, but he's also a good-looking guy. Shout out Ravens. What are you, Jackson, kind of most impressed with Prado on his way over here?
His abs.
Oh, he did.
No,
Wait.
He did go down.
His abs.
He just went down.
Love Jackson.
Dude, I don't know. I think it's crazy. I think he's
he got freezed.
People, dude, Kenny. Okay, just quickly, can we look at the full timing and scoring board here and see that, I feel like I remember years where look at how many factory guys are in this heat race. That was this looks like a main event from
seriously
6 years ago.
Seriously.
You look at 100%. Our boy Cade Clayson, who's in 11th, which is I'm sure he's not where he wants to be. He wants to be going straight into the main. Dude, what chance do these guys have to get straight into the main as a privateer when, dude, there's 9 or 10 factory riders in the heat race?
Crazy stuff,
we're not even talking. It's crazy.
Absolutely crazy.
Well, it reminds me of that year that if you're a Pulp MX fan, they always talk about who's going to be the Tevin Tapia of Anaheim 1. Yeah. And it was that year that Tapia was the only guy that was not a factory rider in the main event.
Right.
That's what we're getting close to. And once Ducati comes in and Triumph gets a 450, honestly, I feel bad to say this, but I don't see Clayson making a main unless one of those guys fall. Like the privateers making mains, it'll be one guy. Once you get another two to four.
So does the evolution of the sport become more like almost a World Supercross or a Formula One, where you have
just
teams,
gonna say Formula One.
So you have teams, you have reserve drivers, and that's your team. And if you're not one of the main two guys for a manufacturer, I mean, where are we at 10 manufacturers now? Because
what I've always said, and I would, if I work for Supercross or even in motocross, what I would like to see is 3 classes. I would like to see 250. I would like to see 250, leave it as is. They can mod it, whatever. I want to see a more production-based 450 class. So bikes that Clayson's riding, Starling's riding, stuff like that. And then I want
relegation.
The Formula One, the work spikes. I want to see everything Honda can throw at it. Bring the ostrich skin seat covers back. I want all of it. And I want you know what?
They're going to come out with something that runs on Fabergé eggs, and I'm here for it.
Hey, on drug testing, I want these guys jacked on APA. I want it all.
You just want people bending their freaking 998 Rentals, just freaking super jet.
When
I feel like
I want him to.
I feel like Tomac just talked about this on Gypsy, didn't he? Saying that he wants them to do, or maybe that was at a press conference, but saying like let's do because MXGP already does that. It's not unprecedented.
No,
that we already have a series that has full works bikes.
Yeah, and that's what the sport used to be. And my thing was like, okay, so you make the factory guys 1 bike, 2 bikes, whatever, and make like we said, like maybe they just run 2 main events. They don't play with the heats. They do 1 qualifying session. Less time for these big guys, and don't limit them to nothing. And then make another class, which is a stepping stone. 450 power, all that. That's where Prado is. That's where Savacci is. That's where McElrath is. Those are the guys, and all of a sudden now they're battling for championships. Where McElrath right now, he's cutting his teeth. He reminds me of Rocky in the first one, beating guys up in the parking lot just to earn $1. And he's doing everything he can to make a living. If we had that middle class,
having another points race. Having another points race for the fans to follow along with would do nothing but good things,
Oh, for sure. I mean, look at like the fantasy
when we get
aspect
those phenom runaway years.
Yes, yeah. Like there's a whole ecosystem.
And now
with betting, yes, yep. It's almost like its own ecosystem, like the privateer sector. Yeah.
And I look at a team like PRMX. All of a sudden, now they're a top team in that.
Yes.
In that production base, you look at a MCR would run into that line because they're not going to jump to that
Club MX.
All Club MX. They're a work. They're these teams can actually compete for titles. Let's be honest, Club MX will never compete in the premier class for a title, and it sucks to say, but it's just they're not going to do it. So you make that.
Now that Phil retired, that's it.
Yeah, but I mean, look at you bring up a good point. Like both you, Jackson and Brent. Like, look at Formula. There's a Formula 1, Formula 2, Formula 3, a Formula E. I mean, there's a lot, and those are feeder classes towards that larger premier class. So I think that could have some credence, and I think they're big enough to sustain themselves. So like you said, Brent, a 250 class, leave it as is, throw the berries at it, but that production level. That there is enough of like an economy quote unquote, around privateer racing and around all the craziness that happens, that you could sustain a series with like Clayson, with the Morans, kind of like what you said, Jackson. Like there's so much. There's fantasy, there's betting. They have their own fan base now because
and
of like we
like
get to see their whole personality.
And you could use it almost as like another feeder class for like the premier class of like works 450s, and that like it gives that opportunity of like, hey, if Kaida Wolf or guys or these guys want to come over and do a few rounds, you don't have to take someone's spot, or you don't have to try. You're not immediately in a heat race with, Tomac and Sexton. Like you could race the production class. And also I think here's the thing that bugs me the most is that the whole idea is based upon the fact that it's like, we want to see people racing bikes that they can buy and build. And it's like, no one believes that. No one believes that, like, the secrets that they have on Jet and Tomac's bikes, they're already not actually production bikes.
No,
like the way that Star reacted when that kid tried to buy Deegan's 250 told us everything we need to know. That it's like, it's not like they are not almost works bike as it is. So like take the throttle limiter off and let's see what these guys can do.
For sure. Yeah, I think that's a phenomenal example. I forgot about that whole Loretta's debacle. That was kind of shisty, right?
I get it from both perspectives. I get it for the kid who's like, I'm not good enough to be a factory. This is my loophole way of getting a factory bike, which I didn't even know that was a thing. And that's a super cool rule. And I'm surprised it's not taken advantage of more. And I feel like it never will be, because the AMA upheld the Deegan side and said, no, he's not getting the bike. And so now no one's going to try to do it. But I didn't even know that was a thing.
Crazy.
What's going on with Jason's hair? Jason Thomas, does he show his barber a picture of a rooster and says, give me the foghorn leghorn? Like,
dude,
he's
crazy.
He's a decent looking guy. He's jacked. I saw him in person at Daytona. I rushed the track but he was trying to do like a
wait, the January 9th of Supercross
show. Dude, somebody has to take like the congressional footage of January 6th and cut in like footage from people rushing the track at Daytona, like the guys that got in front of Anderson's bike and he's revving. Dude, that's so. How has that not been done yet?
I don't, dude.
Now I know what I'm doing this week. That's so funny. Oh my god!
Deal.
And no one in the chat take that idea. That's too good.
Yeah, Ray, don't take it,
dude. Hey, Collective X, that's our hype video going into Daytona this year.
Perfect. We're doing that, dude.
Dude, piano note, like Batman trailer style, just like bing, bing. It's like on this day, like never forget. You just cut in like
a lot of B-roll, just transition, fade to black everywhere. Oh, that's too funny.
Trump quotes, him behind the podium talking about they're not sending their best, and it's just the banister falling over and people rushing the track. Dude, we could really make something.
We really could.
We
really could.
Yeah.
That's so good, dude. Oh, guys, ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you being here again. Our guest for this week is Brent Rouse, Arkansas now, even though it's California. Arkansas's very own. Brent, how many bikes does the Rouse boys currently own in the arsenal? I'm gonna guess. I'm gonna say we're at 97.
Damn. Well, I just talked to Dane. He said it's 97.
Oh.
And I don't believe him, because I was like, their goal was to have 100 or more. And I told my dad to stop buying bikes, because, I mean, no garage we own can you walk into. And I said, you guys got to stop. I said, we don't even have room for these things anymore. And it's like they got a hoarder problem with them. And I told I'm like, you guys are well over 100. And they're like, no, we're not. Dane goes, I did all the math. We're at 97. We need 3 more. And I'm like, where are we putting these 3 in an attic?
Yeah, serious. I mean, but the thing is, the bikes that you guys own, they're not like, oh, I've got like an '06 RMZ. It's like, no, I have like a 1970 like Elsinore, or hey, here's this really cool super limited edition CR500 that like Ricky Carmichael sneezed on when he was 12. Like, there's all this like insanely sick. Like, there's bikes that you guys have that people don't even know that they were bikes. That's how rare they are.
Where is this at? Don't give out the address, but like
I'm telling, like,
well, I couldn't because it's in addresses. We have it all spread out.
You need a list. You need a spreadsheet.
But
could we set up some kind of shoot? Could we set something up to get AJ out to ride a few different bikes through the eras?
Oh, we have some. Yeah, I mean, we did X amount of bike builds with Racer X, so we have a couple of real nice ones. But Dave, like what you were saying, we have an RM 500. My brother goes, "Look at this, an RM 500." Yeah. I was like, I didn't even know Suzuki made a 500.
I didn't until you just said that. I did not know.
No, and like, you know, we have 3 or 4 CR60s where Honda only made a 60 for 3 years.
Dude, which that was the insane thing. When he showed me the picture of the CR60, I was like, who has these bikes, dude? Like, it's absolutely insane to me. So every time I go over the house, like going to your, like for your wedding, dude, I kept staring at the barn. I'm like, oh, look at this beautiful moment. And then my eye would go over. I'm like, is that a fucking 1999? Like, I was like, dude, I was like freaking out the whole time. But no, it was.
Hey, you'll like this one. My dad just bought 2 Indian dirt bike 50s.
From when?
Like, fuck, 70s, I would say. They're
I'm like, when did they come out with dirt bike 50s?
Yeah, they look like little Z50s, but they're Indian.
Dude, this is Jackson. We got to do a trip to Brent's stuff, man, because it literally, they could start their own museum. So
well, that was their goal. Their goal is to start a museum eventually.
Oh man,
like he just finished a Mako, like it's like showroom floor Mako. He's got a couple like showroom floor Elsinores. I told him to start making them nice. You know, we have our garage builds. We have like X amount of nice bikes. So I said, just start taking time and making them nice. Stop buying a bunch of them.
Yeah, it's crazy to me that they're. Good Lord. Going to the chat. Leatherman says, I like Prado, but he is still very green in SX. I think he can be a top guy if he sticks with it for a couple seasons. Kind of echoing what you said, Brent. Let's see. Sketchy XC says, sky's the limit for Prado. Caitlin saying, I need Jackson to teach me how to say something hilarious without changing the expression on my face while everyone else is dying. So that is a trade of the comedic expertise that is Jackson. You know, it's just you got to be a pro. You got to be a pro.
Yeah, I've learned doing stand up. If you're up there thinking like this is really funny, they're gonna be like, "Who's this guy think he is?" You have to say it like, "No, I'm being dead serious. This is not a joke." But it has to be ridiculous, and people be like, "That's when it's like." That's the key to like. You ever watch Curb Your Enthusiasm, Dave?
Yes. There's been so many.
It's one of the funniest shows ever, and at no point is Larry David saying what I'm saying right now in this situation is funny, really funny. Yeah. It's straight, man. It's like I fully believe that what I'm saying is true,
dude,
and not ridiculous at all. That's what makes it great.
The scene with him and JB Smoove when they're like, "Do you like your colors?" Like, "Yeah, I'm like a mocha." Like or whatever, and he was like, "You like yours?" He's like, "No, I look like oatmeal, cream of wheat." I would say, dude, it was, that show is so hilarious. Who's your favorite? Go ahead, Brent.
What's your
favorite? Yeah. Who's your favorite comedian, Jackson?
Oh man,
give me 3 of them if you can't narrow it down. Then
I'll give you 3 for wildly different reasons. I love Chappelle for the way he can hold court. He can just no one else I would sit and listen to talk like for 6 hours. but I would listen to him talk for 6 hours. The way he like is doing, and I like how he's grown old and matured, and like his last few specials, it's not like bang, 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 joke, joke, funny. It's like, no, it's art. It's well crafted. It's, it's something that everybody should aspire to be. It's more than just, he is greater than the actual like entity.
Do you know who else does that? I feel like it's Chris Titus, but Chappelle does it in a more funny, compelling way. I feel like Chris Titus, like you watch his and you're like, this is a TED Talk? But like Chappelle, it's like, dude, this is hilarious.
Yeah. And I love that Chappelle's not above like the very, like, even when he's telling these super in-depth stories that are layered and have, they're charged politically, racially, socially, like it's heavy, and he's not above like the lowest brow funny
fart joke,
kicker in the pussy, like in the middle of that, like the most common denominator joke. Like I love that about him, that he's still super silly.
So that Jackson, what you just said proves to me that you are a student of comedy. That was such an astute evaluation, that because like that goes over people's head. They're like, man, that was funny, but they don't know why it's funny. That was perfect.
It's really funny because like, dude, I know comedians are having like their day in the sun right now. Like everybody has a podcast, everybody has their favorite like that's a wild thing now. Like growing up, I remember like people didn't have a favorite comic. It was just like, this is the biggest comic right now is this guy, and that's who everybody, that's who you. But like people having their favorite comics like their bands is like a crazy thing, and we are like super like lucky to have that, or like wide range of people to find. But like it's I feel like still not enough is like shown about how delusional, crazy, insane comics are at the local level. Like, dude, you would not like, I feel like I'm trying to think of a good way to like give an analogy for it, but it's like, think about going to a D-class local race, okay? And the guy who got fourth in that race is like, yeah, did you watch Supercross on Saturday? Dude, Roxanne sucks. like, dude, like that is a green room at an open mic in Tuktoyaktuk, none of it. All right. Like literally in the far reaches of the world, you sit in a green room and there are guys that are sitting there be like, can you believe Fluffy, the comedian, sold out Dodger Stadium? He sucks. And it's like, he's doing it. He did it.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot like him. It can be not your cup of tea. It's like Roxanne. It's like, you cannot like how he is on social media or how he interviews, or you cannot like the color yellow on a bike. He's doing it. He's better than you. You couldn't hang with him. Say that again.
Can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
A lot of people say Jet sucks. It's in the same ballpark.
Yes.
Exactly. Like it's literally like, and so it's such a crazy thing. And here's the other thing is like, dude, the amount of ego that when you go from being somebody that is, you need such an acute sense of self-awareness. And it's almost like why I didn't go very far with stand-up, not to put it on this, but like I worked with people that truly believed that they were the next Bill Burr. And I'm like, my guy, you are 37, divorced. All right. And you are still doing shows at the Owl House in Red Deer, Alberta, for gas money. You drove from Calgary to do 2 shows in Red Deer, Alberta at a bar where the patrons did not know there was comedy tonight. That is the level you are at. And they are literally like, yeah, just going to get these shows going, going to keep grinding, doing my own shows. And here's dude, there's so much I can talk about.
We're a privateer of comedy, it sounds like, because you don't know how many guys I race with that were telling me, give me a good bike and I'm winning this race. And I'm like, listen, you're
Exactly.
barely taking the race with me, pal. I don't give a shit if you're on a rocket ship. You're not winning this thing. You might qualify, but you ain't winning this fucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
it's
good.
Very similar. They like, and honestly, some like delusion is kind of what turns the industry. And I never had it, and that's why I never pursued it far outside of my own city. Like I lived in a pretty small city, and I got to a level where I could phone to like my local club or the clubs around, like in neighboring cities. If I wanted time, I'd phone. I'd say, hey, I want to do 20 minutes. I want to do 30 minutes tonight. They'd be like, sure thing. We'll make room for you. I had that level of like, not notoriety, but just they trusted that I'm not going to go up there and tank the show. I'm not going to get up there. People are going to start filming, and I'm going to do full Kramer impersonation in front of the Laugh Factory logo. That's not what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Maybe. But
he's really going to say
like,
it. He's going to say it.
I got good enough to kind of get my name out there. Like I get booked for a lot of like Christmas parties. Like I'm kind of the guy in town here that gets booked for Christmas parties, and it's sweet. I'm super happy with that. It's like every winter I'll do 8 to 15 shows and get paid cash to do 45 minutes of picking on the boss, and they love it. The people love it, and it's like it's chill. But yeah, dude, the amount of the ego of like when people stop paying to do a spot and they like even make five, like what a lot of clubs will do is they won't pay. What they'll do is they'll put out tip jars for the talent, and that'll be like everybody who's on the show splits the tip jars. And dude, I've seen it happen in real time where people go from like, I'm not getting paid to like, I made $8 last week. They're like, I am a paid comedian. Look out, world, here I go. And it's like, buddy, you're not. Just pretend that you found that money. That's really what just happened.
Dude, that's who else do you got, Jackson, for your other top two?
Rory Scovel, as far as just like straight funny. I don't know if you've heard of him or paid much attention. He has a special on Netflix that I would put up there with just about anyone's, as far as like you could put it on for just about anyone, and it's the funniest thing you've ever seen. And he does it in such a way that his cadence and the way he gets to his bits, they're obviously written, they're obviously worked on, they're obviously done. But the way he does his show, you feel like it's crowd generated. It feels like he's making it up on the spot. He feels like he's asking people and getting a response and building off of that. But he's just that good that he like, it's almost like, you know how a magician knows how to pick out the right people in a crowd to go along with the trick?
Yeah.
It's like that. But dude, yeah, his I'll look up what the special's name. But dude, homework for this week, go watch that. Third, I feel like third spot, you can kind of pick whoever's hot right now. I love Shane Gillis. I almost more like him, like his person, like he's just funny. So his specials are great. He's great, but like just I'm a fan of him. I'm just a fan of him.
That clip you put me on of the dude, you're getting close. I watch that once a week, dude. I watch, and that's like a unscripted, like that reminds me of like you, Jackson, like just like something that would not written, just off the top, that just like not even meant to be like super funny, but like observationally that just Brent, give me your top three quick.
Chappelle. I do like Shane Gillis. I would put him or Andrew Schultz. You can throw one of those two in there as like one of your two like guys. This one might not, or this one might surprise you. I have always loved Daniel Tosh. I like his dark humor. Yes, I love the like. I can't believe you just said that, and he just will constantly throw those out there. I've always kind of
I like him. I like his style of that more than like a Jesselnick. Jesselnick,
it's too much. It's too
like,
forced. and too shtickish.
For me, because I study it, and like if I'm not with other people, if I'm not live in, I don't laugh watching stand up. It's not that I don't find it funny. It's not a like, oh, I'm better than this kind of thing. It's strictly a like, once a comedian starts a setup, there's genuinely like, where it's going, or like I'm pretty tuned in to like, I know what he's working towards in that. And that like Jesselnick, his whole thing is just like, you can't believe what I'm about to say. And to me, it almost ruins the fun of it. It's like, no, I don't know what you're going to say, but I know your goal is to say the most shocking thing to get a shocked reaction out of everybody. And that takes the fun out of it for me. And that's why like Chappelle is so masterful at like, dude, you don't know where he's been talking for 35 minutes. You don't know where he's going with it. You don't know how he's going to tie it all together. Rory, the same way. And, the special's called Rory Scovel tries stand up for the first time, and that's really what it comes across as. Like, it comes across as like a guy who just like walked off the street, picked up a mic, and did an hour and 15 minutes, not knowing that he was about to do it. But it's written, it's like rehearsed, obviously, and it's fantastic. It's on Netflix. Go watch it.
I also loved Ralphie May.
Dude, those guys that can cross like the freaking like boundaries between like, oh, he can do like an all white alt room or like an all black room and like the same vibe and have both of them screaming. That's absolutely insane to me. I've got my top 3. I have to go top 4. I'm sorry to do this, guys, but I love obviously Chappelle's. I love Chappelle.
Let's just say blank space. That's the Carmichael. Everybody has him on their
exactly. I love Brent Morin. I forever, dude. I spent Christmas with that guy one year, and I laughed so freaking hard. I also I love Louis C.K. I know we're not supposed to for whatever reason.
Oh yeah,
but the way that he can like, he's just so good. And he can cross boundaries, but not really make you feel like he crossed it. So I love
he's
him.
another one that
that triple is massive.
It's insane.
It's so big.
Louis C.K. tackles. He just makes the things that you're not supposed to talk about silly enough to just like, we can just talk about it. Like, it's gonna be fine.
Did you watch his show? Did you watch Louis?
No, actually I haven't. I don't know really what I'm saving it for, but I am saving it, and I'm excited to watch it one day.
There's one skit that I want to send you at a museum, and I play this with the volume on at least once every month. Dude, I'll do it to you next time. But then last for me, dude, this is so difficult for me, but I like Nate Bargatze for the fact that I didn't realize he was a clean comic until very recently, where I was like, holy crap. I think I talked to you about this, Jackson, where it's like his comedy is just so good, his timing is so good and so deadpan. But I also love Segura, dude. I love Tomer Black, where he goes into his black scent, dude, and you can't tell if it's him or a 70-year-old black dude. I love that.
Okay, so I have a really funny Bargatze story. So I was with I've worked with this comedian a lot. His name's Chris Gordon. He's from Calgary. Hilarious. If you ever see that name coming through a city near you, go see Chris Gordon. He's absolutely phenomenal. But he's worked with Rory a lot, and I got to go with Chris when Chris was opening for Rory, because he opens for Rory when he comes through Canada, or for Nate. Sorry, or he did open for Nate. Chris. Now, when somebody's gets picked up to open for a comedian on the road, that's a big comedian, it's not always a given that they know who the opener is. Sometimes it's like they phone someone, they're like, I need someone for this stretch of dates. Can you recommend somebody? To be like, I know this guy. So it's a very just who you know industry, So Chris was like, I want to make him laugh. I want to like, and being an opener is so much more about just being like a good hang than actually like performing well. Like, it is about performing well, but it's not being a weirdo. It's being someone that's fun to hang out with backstage. So it's
it's like being a Supercross mechanic. It's like it's not important if you're actually good at it. It's just you want to be a good hanger, right?
Yeah, exactly. And not be like Dave Drake's freaking sending selfies on the line. Yeah, don't do that.
So after, so Chris was writing down every punchline that Nate Bargatze said through his set while he was on stage.
Oh,
And then after,
Jeez.
what I missed?
Long is on the ground. Dude, my fantasy scores right now, both my guys are pulp. Dude, I
yeah.
pick Thury and I pick Hawkins. Thinking
Oh,
Thury, dude,
you should-
Thury should be money in the bank, dude.
No,
And then Hawkins?
phone me in on Thury. I got inside scoops on him. I would have told you.
Oh, dude, I should have texted you. God dang it. He saved my fantasy like 2 seasons ago.
I know he's I like Thury. I got some real close like friends that are friends with him too, and just he's doing it all on his own. Where he's always kind of been on some kind of supportive team, you know. Results are gonna show. Oh, it's red flag. But
for long?
yeah. But yeah, I think being on his own, I just think it's going to be harder for him to get the results that we're used to. Sorry, we completely cut off our other guy.
Yeah, sorry, Jackson.
No, it's okay. At what point are we just gonna get in helmet communications already?
Oh, I know.
We
I don't
really need it.
Dude,
we need it. We hear them tell them like red flag.
Is Shimoda breaking his fingers going to be the tipping point where it's like, why do we have these mechanics standing?
Oh yeah, Dave, do you know that he broke it from a board? They stuck a pit board out and hit him in the hand.
You're joking.
No.
Who did? Was it his own mechanic?
I don't think so. No. He wasn't beating his mechanic up. I would be. If it was Dane threw the pit board out and broke my hand, he punted him with my other hand.
Dude, that's insane.
There's no reason.
It was Deegan's
like
mechanic.
Number one, how many riders have we heard from that said like, I can't even read the thing. Like it's
yeah.
I purposely don't even look at it. I don't give a shit about it.
Like what's it gonna? I'm doing the best I can. I mean, you'd hope that they're all like, I'm doing the best I can at all times out on this track. It's like, you think them holding
no shit, like, breathe.
Hey, go faster on the whoops. It's like, oh, okay.
Didn't think about that.
So when I won the LCQ at Glen Helen, my brother was that 2-stroke race. I was in the middle of the thing, so he was on the line. So my dad had to be my mechanic. Luckily for him, I was in first. I led every lap. So my dad just put a line like 1, and he would hold it out every single time. And I was like, I had a decent enough lead, so I'd look over and I'm like, no shit, Sherlock. There's no one in front of me here. I know. That was all.
Dude.
One. And I'm like,
the world that I live in my brain is I'd like to think that your dad thought that that's all the mechanics wrote on their boards. It's just like what place you're in right now. It's just like 13. It's like every lap you come around, it's like, dude, 21. It's like, I know.
I got one better for you. My dad is the worst. He's a moto dad that just screams at you. He's a great mechanic, but refused to work on my bikes. And on the pit board, I finally got a good start. It's like in second place. My dad wrote the class that I'm racing in on my pit board for like 5 laps, dude. He wrote 125 youth B on the pit board. I'm like,
He's just reminding you. He's just reminding you. He's like, you got me out here for a 125B bullshit. He's like, you dragged me out. I could have been naked in the shower right now. I could have been doing my naked lap.
I could have been naked over there in front of the porta potties.
Actually, you say that, but my dad used to yell at me and literally tell me I could be at home sitting on the couch watching TV instead of this shit. He would storm off. Yep. And that was always, I could be at home watching TV because that's what he likes to do.
Oh, dude. Why are moto dads just so mean, dude?
Well, my dad started racing once I turned pro, so I went to first ever race with him, and he comes back to the truck, and I just start throwing shit, telling him I could be watching TV, load that fucker, man, we're getting out of here. This was a waste of my money. He goes, you didn't pay for it. I don't give a shit. This is embarrassment. I can't believe that. You think that was
time is money.
Dude, I'm laying into him. I'm like, you think that was good? There was girls beating you. There was dead people beating you. Everyone's beating you. And then I did the best I could. And I was like, you don't say, pal. For fucking 20-something years, I've been doing the best I can. And he was like,
that's what makes it so sad, is you did the best you could.
But dude, it switched, because that next year, we were racing outdoors, and he comes to Paula for like one of the rounds, and I get like 6th place in the LCQ, and he comes off and he goes, you were flying, you passed like 20-something people, you a good start, you could have been that's the best riding I've ever seen. And I'm like, I'm looking at him, I'm looking behind me, I'm like, did the guy who wins sitting right behind me? Like, what the hell are you talking about? You can't be talking to me. He was like, no, like, that was really good. And I'm like, who the fuck are you,
dude? My first 450 race, my dad got me a trainer. Jackson, I told you about this, where my dad got me this trainer to like put on muscle, because I was like 17 or 18. I was like 150 pounds. Dude, I've got pictures. I can prove it. I was like pretty like lean, and my dad used to like
I'm not
this
saying
trainer.
Anything. I didn't make fun of you. Dude,
this trainer. This trainer. He would give me like these red drops to put under my tongue that burn like hell. My dad's like, oh, it's to lubricate your joints. I'm pretty sure it was like Deca or Tren or something. And dude, I gained like 30 pounds of muscle. Dude, I gained 30 pounds of muscle in like 2 months. I was always hungry. And I already had like teenage hormones raging. And I was like, dude,
you to even go to school.
I was I was like pulling his car, like, I want McDonald's. Dude, I was so hungry and angry. And my first race, I was racing grown ass men, and my dad was like,
of you getting a trainer. I love the idea of you getting a trainer, and you're like, yeah, my new trainer's got me in a pretty rigorous vaccine schedule. I don't know.
Dude, seriously. Like, dude, he's really worried about me getting a cold. Real germaphobe. And dude, I remember like my first race.
Thinks I'm gonna give him a or something, but like actually from Africa. Like,
dude, my first race, literally on the 450, I got like 5th, and it's my first money race. And dude, my dad was like, I'm so proud of you, blah, blah. I was like, Dad, get me out of here. Bring me to a Denny's. Dude, I threw my bike in the trailer, dude. I'm like, I need to eat. Like, give me a cow to eat right now.
Hey, have you ever other guys?
Yes. Yeah.
You know, Earl, when he's trying to explain, when Mark Wahlberg's telling him that you're a pimp, and he's like, no, have you even listened to the story? That you didn't know you're on steroids. And you're like, no, I was putting these drops on, getting swole, ripping the bike in half. And it's like, no, dude, you're not even listening.
Dude,
Dave's idea of going through a growth spurt as a teenager is putting on 30 pounds of muscle.
Dude,
like a 4-inch vertical jack. That's not what it is.
Dude,
daughter is gonna be turning like 19, and you're gonna be like, she hasn't really hit her growth yet.
Where's her mustache? She's going through a growth spurt.
How come she's not ripping the pillows in half yet?
Dude, I know, like, oh, weird. Must be a late bloomer. Dude, I remember I crashed and literally like deadlifted my bike off this guy and like got back on and was like kicking it to like I bent the kicks. Dude, I was out of my mind as a 19-year-old kid, dude.
No, see, you were on a different level. Until you met me, I could barely pick my bike up off me if I fell.
Jeez. You were so freaking. Dude, I remember you like coming off the track a couple times, and I'm like, dude, how is he not top 10 right now? It's like, watching the guys in the program ride. I love my buddies, but sometimes I'm like, there's no hope for me. Like, if Brent is having a hard time, why am I doing this sport? because I have no hope of catching Brent on my best day. Brent can have one hand tied behind his back, blindfolded.
No, like, the people that talk like we all do the same sport, could not be further from the truth. Like dude, I even think it's so funny because like I run AJ's like comments and his DMs and stuff, and the amount of people that are just like, who's this yahoo that's telling us how to ride a bike? He never won it. And it's like, dude, like, you watch AJ ride or like share a track with him, and it's like, no, he's like on another planet. Like, it's not just like, oh, I could hold him up if he gets behind me. It's like, no, he's gone and it's over, and he didn't even know you were there. Like the gap between like civilians and just like not even pros, just like good riders. It's like, it's so far that people have no idea.
It's crazy. We really do like, I remember when we were kids, AJ was like, yeah, that one like triple single section. I'm like, where are you talking about? He's like, before the step up. I'm like, oh wait, those aren't singles? I thought it was a roller section, dude. I was hitting him like this, and AJ's like, yeah, it's a triple single. Dude, I was like, I'm fucking crushing these singles right now, dude. I thought I was crushing it. I was like, dude, no one's touching me in these singles.
When I was, at my peak, right, I would be at like practice tracks, and a lot of times I'd have to ride on weekends. I would do like a day or two during the week, and then the weekends. And on the weekends, I'd have people come up to me and they're like, "You're the fastest guy I've ever seen ride. How much faster is Tomac than you?" And I was like, "Oh God, like a whole nother planet." I said, maybe. I said, I don't know. I raced him and got lapped 3 times. So you determine how much slower I am. And they're like, "What?" And then they started laughing. I'm like, dude, if you raced them, if there's 20 laps, you're getting lapped 21 times. I'm lapping you 21 times.
Oh, that's good, dude. It's so insane. Red flag race is over. Well, I should have picked Varese, dude. I had Varese on my team, and I just like a dummy did not pick it. Shout out to is that Sanford that got in the 4th? Shout out to Sanford. That's pretty sick.
Sanford, I don't think he got in. I think Coach got in.
Oh, sorry, Coach. Sorry, my bad. But yeah, shout out, dude. That's got to be such a good feeling to like been working your butt off, and then boom, you're in the freaking night show, like, or the main event. Like, that is absolutely insane. At that point, who cares what you get, dude? I would. Yeah.
Let me tell you exactly how it feels as someone who's, as a privateer who's just trying to make the show. Dude, when I did it, I mean, I won the race, but I was like, I've heard this in other sports because I used to read a lot of like sports books and listen to stuff like that. And like, even like some of the greats, they're like, there's one or two feelings. There's like extreme like happiness and excitement, or there's just like all this pressure is lifted off of you and you just like deflate. That's how it was for me. I remember like it came over, dude, I fist bumped, and it was just like, oh, like everything I've worked for is like paid, because like there's this weight on you as like a privateer is just trying to make it. It's like, has my whole life been working for something that might not even happen? And then like when it happens, it's just like, to me, it was just like, oh, like that was it. Like it was worth it. Like we were able to do it, So like for me, when it happened, like, dude, it was just like, oh, the rest of the race, the rest of the day, don't even worry about it. I wasn't barely even there mentally. It was just like that one second when I finally did, I was like, oh. And I remember my dad, he came up and he was like almost crying, and my dad doesn't show no emotion. He's just like, that made and he always talked about money. He goes, that made every bit of all the money we ever spent worth it.
Do we have the same dad? Because my dad only talks about money, doesn't show emotion. Like,
it might be
the same dad, dude.
Same dad, different colors.
You know what you might be Caribbean. Who knows?
You know what I'm excited for you, Dave?
What's that?
Now that you have a little one, you're gonna be in conversations. You're gonna find yourself in situations hanging out with your parents, with your kid as they grow older. And you're going to have to bite a hole through your tongue, because your parents are going to say things that you're like, where was this person when I was growing? Like this enlightenment that grandparents all of a sudden like catch when it's not their kid anymore, and they're just like, you know what? Let's not stress about it. As long as the kid's happy, we don't have to like get all riled, dude. The stuff that my mom will just drop in a conversation now would be like, oh, what, you just try your best and you just hope it works. Or before it was just like, like I'm just having like a full like Fortunate Son is playing in my head and helicopter sounds when I think about like scenes from my childhood. And they're just like, dude. And then they're like with your kids and they're like, oh, whatever. Like it doesn't even matter. They grow up and they are who they are. Dude, it's crazy.
Dave, wait till dad says, I'll buy any. Don't worry about the price. I'll buy anything for her. My dad says that about my girl, and I'm like, what? I was like, you would pull your dollar open like a penny out of your pocket if it helped.
Dude, my dad he doesn't like to travel now. He's starting to lose his eyesight and stuff, and it's hard for him to get around and stuff like that. So he's like, oh, I don't like, I don't want to really travel, blah blah blah. Over the years, now he's like, so I'm thinking about like maybe April coming to see the baby. And I was like, I'm your baby. Like when you come see me, dude. I'm your firstborn sweetheart baby angel child. Come see me, dude. Like, dude, oh my gosh. It angers me that he's like, oh, for her, I'd come see her anytime. I'm like, your sweet baby innocent cherub son would love to see you, but dude, it's, oh my gosh, it drives me crazy. Brent, I should just crawl under my desk and cry right now because my fantasy team, I'm going to get 20 points. I think that's all I have.
Hey, do you see Jason Thomas got 70 points last week?
Did he really?
Yeah, 70.
Do we get to throw one away?
His second, he said he's going to throw that one away, obviously. But he said in the 250 class, his best guy was his all-star, which was Deegan, who didn't max out.
What? Zero handicap. Let me guess, zero handicap, right?
Got fifth, so it wasn't that good.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like, he goes, you want to know the worst part? He goes, my second best scoring person got last place.
Oh, no.
And yeah, he got like 450 class, like half his guys didn't make it. And then the 250 class, he only had 3 in there. And he said he had Jet Reynolds and Styles Robertson. And they got last and second.
Jeez, dude. That's, I
actually think crazy. I'm good on this one. But I kind of picked conservative. I did pick Colt Nichols because I'm like, there's no way that guy's not making it back-to-back rounds.
Dude, I should have. I thought about it. I was like, nah, dude, I'll go for somebody who has a high handicap. I picked Cade and I picked Harlan, dude, along with Blows.
Helping you.
Dude, I need a man, right, dude. But then he's got to pass Moran's, but I also want Moran's to do good because he's my buddy. So now I'm like, what do I want? My fantasy to do good or my buddy to get some good results? But
I think Harlan's. I was talking to Moran's.
I'm going to clip this and send it to Moran's.
No, I like him.
I like Moran's too. I'm good friends with him. And I think he's struggling with that new KTM.
He doesn't look as comfy.
Yeah. He said the old one's way better.
What did he say he doesn't like about it? Was it just like the new, like, is there something going on with like frame geometry that's new for 25 or something?
So my brother has a 24, I believe. Mm-hmm. The one that the 302 stroke though. So the same one that Crutchers are running. And that bike, dude, is like the biggest death trap I've ever ridden in my life. It is.
Why is that?
And I've talked to people, Colt Neck, who was racing the off-road series on the KTM. Brandon's rode that bike, and everyone I've talked to who's ridden those bikes, dude, the geometry of the frame and everything, that front end is like, people complain about the Hondas having a twitch. I'm a Honda guy, so like for me, it's like it has a twitch, but it's only because the weight's on the front end. So if you know how to shift your body weight, like you can kind of counteract some of that. The KTM, at any given time, that front end feels like it's going to Chad Reed off the catapult and just like take off on you. And dude, there's this, and I've talked to a lot of people who rode them. They all said the same thing. Like, dude, this geometry of this frame is terrible. And to see how good Plessinger and Sexton are on those bikes, it blows me away.
Yeah. Oh, they got some sick setup.
Dude, Harlan just went for a ride.
Oh, don't say that, dude.
I
need,
yeah.
I need him on there. Oh,
Oh, dude. Like,
oh, Moran's is like,
he hung
Morant's.
ugh. Oh my
he
goodness,
hung on for
dude.
a long time, but holy
This happens to me
shit.
every year, dude. I'm sure like Weigel, Mike, Bunny, man, you guys are so sick of me every year talking about my fantasy picks, but this year is going to be horrible for my fantasy picks. Guys, again, if you were looking for any promo codes, any saving opportunities, hit up our sponsors. They're going to be you're going to be linked below, as well as Brent and Jackson's Instagram. Go follow these guys. If you guys are looking for an experience unlike any other, it's more than just a fan experience with a meet and greet. We really make you feel like part of the family. Just as Brent and Jackson, they know firsthand, our programs are meant to get you involved in the sport, helping out privateers, getting your resumes built up, or having an experience that you cannot have anywhere else. You get connections, you get tons of freebies. We did the math. You get $1,300 in savings just in your goodie bag, get along the free swag, and the thought that you get to support privateers like Brent Rouse, like a Cade Clayson, like so many of these guys out there, Jerry Robbins, just to name a few. You guys are doing so many cool things with them. It really lasts longer than just race day. thecollectivexp.com, at thecollectiveex on Instagram. Use the promo code the Moto Academy to save. Don't forget, guys, this program is tailored for you, and we can customize it. Brent, what do you got?
And to throw into your experience there, one of my mechanic interns is now the mechanic for Cade Clayson, Daniel McFarland.
Look at that, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I forgot about. And Stephen Jaramillo, he's working with Hunter Yoder, who's having an amazing season. He was one of AJ's interns too. So, dude, it's absolutely incredible. Our program, over 80% go on to get jobs in the industry. Brent tells you right here first. So, absolutely incredible.
Super, I still cool. Try to keep in contact with Daniel every now and then. So,
yeah. Dan's a cool dude. He's chill. He's fun. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget thecollectivexp.com. Thank you to everybody who was in the chat. We appreciate you guys. If you guys it's patiently waiting for me to read the comments. I love this. If you guys are part of the Moto Academy, which you all should be, head over there now. We're going to be broadcasting, or sorry, Ray Venz is #White Boot Club, where he's going to be showing you guys the mains, having his stream where myself and Jackson will be guests on there. If you are not in the Moto Academy app, you have to sign up. It's incredible. You guys get so much out of it, and it's super affordable. Make sure you guys do that now. Head over there. We're going to be talking and doing a bunch of stuff. Also, got to shout out the people in here, the Bunny Man, Ben Weigel. We got the famous Caitlin. We got Daniel Youngblood in the house, Mike McSwain. We got Leatherman. We got Noah Cook. All of you guys, we really appreciate you guys tuning in with us, helping us out. And again, if you guys are trying to save, use the link set up below. Brent, if people want to follow along with you in your 1,000 different bikes, where can we follow along? Where can we hear more? And can we entice you to maybe do like a one outdoor or something?
God, I would love to, but I don't have it anymore. Dave, you're almost ready to beat me in a race.
Oh, I know about that, dude.
I went to Glen Helen, and my brother was able to keep up with me for a couple laps, and I was like, that's it, dude.
That's it.
He was having me ride that KTM. I hate that thing.
Did you say that to your brother's face? Did you? Because that would be an awful thing.
I did.
Like,
no,
you were hanging with me? God damn, I must be slow.
Jeez. Oh, no, that's about exactly how I told him. I was like, the fact that you can keep up with me, I was like, I should just stop riding these things altogether.
Jeez.
But he does ride way more than I do. So probably
he does, dude. I will say he motos, but Brent, you're in a different level, man. Oh, I also, if anyone asks about like, hey, what's the craziest like fan thing you've seen? I always show Dane at Donations 2018, and the dude was just full American flag head to toe. This dude.
Okay, what about when we had to wear a mask during COVID outdoors? His mask was a Trump face, and he cut the cardboard Trump cutout, and he tied a rope around, cut the eyeballs out. And there's a picture of him in Racer X doing the pit board with his Trump mask
Oh
on.
my gosh, dude. He is out of this world. He's so freaking funny, dude. I love that guy. Guys, don't forget, we're gonna be doing this just about every weekend. If you guys want to see more of Dane or more of Brent, if you want to see Dane, cool, but pre-warning, it's a little crazy. It's a little crazy. But if you want to follow along with Brent, his Instagram is linked below. You guys can check him out, give him a follow, tell him how fast he is and how much you want to see him come back. We thank you. Thanks to our sponsors, FXR, Flow Vision Goggles, Partzilla.com, Phoenix Handlebars, and the Moto Academy. All of the rest are linked below. Thank you guys, and head over to the Moto Academy app. Brent, love you, buddy. Appreciate your time. Give the wife and little girl a hug for me, and we hope to see you soon, my guy.
Yep, I appreciate you having me on, man.
We'll talk soon.
Yep. Nice to meet you, man.
Nice to meet you.
See you guys.
See you in a bit, Dave. How long before the main start?
Like 15 minutes. 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. See you in a bit.
See you, bud.